All right, so we're going to talk about descriptive research. So we have been speaking about empirical research, experimental research, where we have independent variables and we manipulate the effects and measure them on the dependent variables. With descriptive research, we don't do that. What we do is we observe group differences, developmental trends, relationships among variables that can be measured by the researcher. It provides an empirical picture of what was observed at one time or of observed changes over a period of time without manipulation of an independent variable. The researchers are essentially passive observers. They try to be as unobtrusive as possible so that their presence, or the presence of their measuring instruments or techniques, cause minimal alterations of the naturalness of the phenomena under investigation. So passive observers. This is important in behavioral science. It constitutes a large portion of research in our literature, but it does not lead to the formulation of cause and effect statements. The description of differences between groups of relationships among variables does not provide sufficient ground for establishing cause and effect. So this isn't empirical experimental research. The discovery of cause and effect falls within the purview of experimental research, where experimenters manipulate things in controlled conditions. It's difficult to draw conclusions from descriptive research about cause and effect because many of the relationships, the factors, are beyond control of the researcher. So the researcher in descriptive research is an observer. More appropriate in situations when the researcher is interested in behaviors as they occur naturally. So descriptive research, passive observer, behaviors that occur naturally. When observation of a natural phenomena is necessary to solve a particular problem. In descriptive research, the independent variable is an attribute variable that cannot be manipulated. Subjects are classified according to certain variables, and comparisons are made between the classifications with regard to some criterion variable. Remember, with an experimental study, the independent variable is manipulated. With descriptive studies, subjects are classified according to some non-manipulated dimension and compared on some criterion. Or relationships are examined between non-manipulable predictor and predicted variables. Most researchers in our field use a combination of both descriptive and experimental or empirical research. Many different strategies are used for descriptive research: comparative, developmental, correlation, surveys, and retrospective research, and we'll go over all of those.